Are you listening? Damn.
Another episode of Trash Talk. With me, as always, TJ O'Connor and Blake Bergeson. Special guest tonight, Lloyd McKinney, who's coming off of a big win for LFA 70 out in Madison, Wisconsin. How you feeling tonight?
I feel great. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, dude. We appreciate you for being on.
Yeah, really glad you could join us, Albie. This was a short notice fight for you. We originally reached out last week. We were talking a little bit off camera here about, this weight cut taken on short notice and your diet leading up to the fight. It doesn't sound like it was something that you were expecting. Ain't that clear?
Oh, yeah. So just to reiterate what I was saying before, on Saturday, so my girlfriend races stock cars, and they called me on Monday, and I didn't want to let it out of the bag too early, but I was 146. But like I was telling you guys, I was snacking hard at the racetrack, eating pork sandwiches, homemade cookies, just vegging out hard. And then you commit to the weight cut, and I don't know, it is what it is. It's just I was telling Damien, and I wanted to make the interview happen sooner. It's just I had to be so disciplined for those 72 hours leading up to the fight, because obviously choices I'd made, but any other camp, you're going to have at least 4 weeks of tapering and manipulating your nutrition and stuff like that. So, but it was just pretty funny. So,
no, yeah. And you mentioned getting the call on. What most fans don't realize is when you take these LFA fights, you're weighing in a day earlier as well. So you don't get that full week. You're weighing in on Thursday for that. So, I mean, I can only imagine, the discipline that went into that weight cut, and kudos to you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm just happy that they reached out to me, because I hadn't had the best performances. My performances weren't bad. It's just I wasn't able to get wins in my previous 2 fights for LFA. So when they call you, whether it's on short notice or not, you got to take a fight. You know what I mean? At least that's where I felt And I'd had history with Gonzalo, but I knew it made sense when I got the call.
Well, you got the win short notice. Walk us through how you got the win.
So the funny part about this whole thing is you interview with Pat Militich and Kruk. I think that guy, Rob Kruk. I might be mistaken on his name, but they sit you down for the fighter interviews. And I wanted to play the long game. I wanted to use my striking, and Pat's oh, so you think he's gonna pull guard? And then the warm-up went great. I felt great on the mitts in the warm-up, and I felt great in the grappling part of the warm-up. And just, I was in my rhythm. I had a flow going. But, as soon as we got out there and he, kicked my leg, I just, the sequence I went from, it was, question mark kick, followed up with a punch, and then he just stayed set. So I just went in for that takedown, and I was like, fuck it. Let's see where it goes. Because, the last time he pulled guard, so I was I think he was thinking that I was going to play the same game plan, and I just was fuck, if I play the same game plan, he's going to be, super prepared. So I did the last thing I thought I was going to do, and the last thing I had actually told them guys that I was going to do. So, I don't know. He threatened with that guillotine, but, I haven't watched the replay, fully yet, but, in my head, he had that deep guillotine, but he had, my lower body and my upper body. So he had to pick one or the other, if you wanted to keep my legs tangled up or if you wanted to keep threatening my neck. So, I got my legs free while I was hand fighting, and then we, went into a scramble, and then he, went right back to that, same guillotine, and I was oh, shit, I patterned him the way he was moving off, 2 scrambles, right? Yeah. So then coming out of that one, I was fuck it, I don't even know how, but I slapped that triangle on, right? And then I was pretty confident, the initial movement he gave me, I was oh, he might get out. But, once I had my legs locked, I was I just had to be patient, he picked me up and dropped me, but it just made it deeper, I feel and I mean, I don't want to, say bad things about Gonzalo, because he's a class act dude, right? But I was so overwhelmed because he is a high-level brown belt under, a really credible jiu-jitsu guy in Felipe Barboza. So, being able to submit him twice, it was just damn,
that's some real validation right there. That's validation in your skills, dude. Yeah. I mean, At least that's how I feel anyway. This dude is has a great jiu-jitsu coaching background, and you submitted him twice, and this was it was a little bit different than the last fight. Like it was a closer battle that first time, but this time it went pretty smooth for you, other than the guillotine. But obviously you survived it and got the fucking finish. So how bad was it really? So I mean, I think you went out there and you made a statement to him, like maybe he's not going to ask for a rematch again this time.
Yeah, and like that was the hard part too, because like he'd said for a while that he wanted a rematch, and it wasn't me like trying to dog on him, but I was like, I just felt like I pitched a shutout in our first fight. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I won the first 2 rounds. He didn't really he had some offense going, but I didn't know why he was so eager to get the rematch after I felt like he lost all the rounds and got finished, but I mean, that's where I respect him as a competitor, because like whether he wanted to close the gap or he thought he saw something in my game that he could exploit, like I really do respect that about him. So
and the fact that you stepped up and was willing to give him the rematch and on such short notice. I mean, granted, the stage that it happened on might have had something to do with it, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. You stepping up and giving a guy a rematch when they're asking for it, and then doing it on short notice. Some praise needs to be had, and then going out there and getting the finish again. Yeah. I think that cements there's probably no need for a trilogy now.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, if he climbs his way back up and gets there, because like that's what he said too. I tried reaching out after our first fight because I really wanted to train with him, because I really thought there were some things I could definitely learn from him, because just the way he moves on the ground, he's super fluid, and like I think that's where I threw him off, is like he was ready to be systematic in his approach, and I was just like, fuck it, here's a monkey wrench, I'm throwing it in the gears, like and it worked out, but yeah.
And you mentioned the competitor in him, because I had a chance. I was at the first fight. That was a card back in July of 2017. I had a chance to compete earlier in the night. So me and Damian were both sitting there. We watched that fight.
Yeah.
So when I found out this was a rematch, I was a little intrigued to see the differences he could make. Because you mentioned you pitched a shutout in that first fight. I mean, it was pretty clear he wasn't looking to engage. When he came across the ring right at you in this first fight, you mentioned, he kicked you, and you're kind of like, I mean, there might have been more strikes in the first 15 seconds of this fight than the whole first round of the last one. I mean, that tempo, did you notice anything different from him? I mean, even though, like you mentioned, you're able to get a quicker win here, but did you see the improvement in his game?
I think, well, that was what really did surprise me, because his willingness to engage, and he came out and he was like super confident when he like I could just tell, like he set his feet and he threw that kick to the inside of my leg, and I was like, ooh, it had some heat on it, right? Mm-hmm. And like he said it, like he was quoted like expect fireworks, and I think I just embraced that, I was like, we lit the wick as soon as we tapped gloves or whatever right away, and when he engaged, I think the fact that he got that first strike off on me was like, oh, and like I wanted to get it back, so I was just like, he's definitely one, but like it was just weird how it played out. Like, I would have liked to see how much more he did develop, but I think,
I think you developed that much more.
Exactly.
Like, the thing is like, you guys, you were already here because you won that first fight, right? And then he grew this much. You still grew like that much, and which outweighs what? You know what I mean? Like, it gets into that. And you're one of the dudes that I think is top notch in his MMA game. I mean, in all aspects, you're ready for the ground. You're ready on the feet, dude. You have some amazing striking, and then the ground game to match it, dude. I can't wait to see what's next for you. What do you think is next for you?
I mean, I just want to compete, and like, like the later you get in your career, not the later in your career, I'm not saying like age-wise, but now that I got 20 fights. I got 20 pro fights, right? Yeah. So it's like it's a lot more challenging to just get fights locked in, Like, it's like Eric Anderson, my manager, he'll be like, well, I know he tries his ass off, but it's just like now it's like you got to make smart choices and do good matchups. Like the last fight against Bice, that was like that was a step up fight for me. It was like I would probably, not a lot of people even thought I'd last. Like I know a lot of people thought I might not even make it 3 rounds with him, but for me it was just like surviving was the first part of it, but then like getting through it and winning a round and like giving him a good match. I'm like, man, I'm right there with those guys, you know? So like, I hate to say that a loss is good, but I think I learned so much from fighting for 15 minutes with a guy of the level of Sid Bice that like going forward, I like digressed a little bit, and then doing what I did to Gonzalo, like it was like, damn, like I have made some pretty big strides in the last few years, right?
Yeah.
And it's great to hear your mindset on that situation, Lloyd, because I wasn't going to bring up that last fight, but that was a fight not a lot of guys wanted to take. Bice, right, like you mentioned, he's probably the top LFA prospect right now. And you came out and you gave him a fight. You stole not only a round, you stole the last round. You stole the third round. If that was a 5-round fight, momentum was in your favor. So you're seeing the level of competition here, and it's showing in your skill set. And I couldn't be more excited to see what's next for you, man. I feel like you're only getting better at everything here.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm hitting my stride, because like Damian and I were fighting on cards for SEG downtown Minneapolis, like back, dude, like that's like 7 or 8 years ago now, right?
Yeah,
like,
dude, like, it's been, oh my God, it's been a fucking journey, bro.
So think about it like that. It's just like, I mean, if you told me I would have 20 professional fights and I'd been fighting since 2005, 2006, roughly, like, I don't know, like you don't, back in the day, you never really heard guys having careers that length, right? So like, I just think I'm really fortunate for one, and then for two, like you see guys that I look up to now are like guys that have losses. What you look at, like Dustin Poirier, like he's just kind of coming into his stride. Anthony Smith is coming into, guys that like been around. You go around the block a couple times and you're like, some shit doesn't work, and then you just really get the wind in your sails and you make a run at it.
You master the fucking neighborhood. You know, you made a run around the block. Now I know this neighborhood and I know how to control this bitch.
Man, it's love, dude. It's fun now.
Hell yeah. No, but before we wrap it up, is there any sponsors or teammates you'd like to shout out? I know you shouted out Eric Anderson, your manager. He's a great guy. I love him. He's amazing. I don't think anyone has ever had a bad experience with him.
Right. Well, I think like so much credit goes to him, but like my whole team, like I try to do a really good job about like tagging people on social media. Like I'm not the best, but like I got amazing sponsors that have been with me since like day one. So like, I mean, the local people around here, like Advertising Concepts, Ryan Johnson and Mike Gorder are guys that own the restaurants that I'm always plugging, like Stateroom, Animal House, Crow, Howie's, and now Big Al's. But like Donna Ellison, she's the Ad Concepts sponsor, and she prints all my shirts, all my walkout gear. You know what I mean? Like she's always like, if she has like prototype gear, she'll like throw our logo on it and be like, what do you guys think? So like she's been great. My tattoo guy, like, as weird as it sounds, like I don't want to have shitty tattoos on my body. So like Jake Phillips has done a great job of just like, dude, I got like 12 hours in the chair on my sleeve on my right arm. Who else? Maluna Coolers, a guy named Bill Farrow. So he did BM Artistic Streetwear, and that was like one of the first apparel companies, right? But now he is like works for the Gunderson Lutheran, the hospital down here, and it's just like that guy's believed in me since like 2011, and he's just always like doing everything he can to help me out. So like I really appreciate people like that. My girlfriend, like being around like her, she's a competitor. She drives stock cars, like I said. So it's just like it's not a sponsor, but it's just like that family environment. We're at the racetrack with her family every weekend, so that's like balanced. Like, dude, I got my teammates: Garrett Carlson, Felipe Martinez, Zach Burrows Nash, Ben Ross. Like, dude, I could go on and on and on. Like Rodney, you guys probably know Rodney. Like everybody, Ammerman. So like, we're always like getting after it and grinding it. So like to go be at the racetrack, as weird as it sounds, like on Saturdays, before and after training, sometimes it's just a good laid back environment, you know, something different. But I'm watching her compete, so that like I like get to see both sides of the coin, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
dude, it sounds like you got a lot of support behind you, and then you also have you said that it's technically not a sponsor, but that's a great atmosphere. Anybody that supports you that support is sponsorship in my eyes. Like it feels good. It feels good. So
and like, I mean, you guys know, like, I mean, being thankful for like all the MMA promotions around here. Like, I made a post the other like today or yesterday about like how fortunate I was to be able to be brought up in the Upper Midwest. You know, like, dude, there's some stiff ass competition around here. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, Illinois. Like, if you
there's
you can
so
make
many
it,
killers, just people don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we represented at the UFC this weekend, so it was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, the UFC was in Minneapolis. Like, dude, we're doing something right. Midwest MMA. So, like, for the LFA to do a card in Madison and then the UFC to be in Minneapolis on Saturday, like, that says something, right?
That's cool. That's a big weekend. It was.
Yeah. You know, and you got like all those guys are like, dude, Moret. Like, you look at when we were fighting on cards with Moret, and like even coming up with like Mike Richmond and like the guys that were before, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude, I lost to Moret, dude. Fucking, I remember I was trying to throw as hard as I could, and then he threw a punch. It hit me, and I'm trying to counter back. He takes me down, and as he takes me down, like I'm in a choke. I was like, "What happened? What happened?"
Yeah. He's crafty like that, though, huh, dude? Holy shit.
You know, and then to see guys like that, that I've lost you make it to that next level makes me feel less bad about the loss, because not everybody makes it to the next level, and those guys did. And hey, I got a chance to go see how I'd fare against one of those guys that made it to the next level, you know? So I don't know. It makes me feel a little bit better about the loss. And honestly, I appreciate you taking a fight on short notice, because that's risking a lot. You know, if you went out there and lost, it's like it's going to be on your record forever. But at the same time, you took that risk. You went out there. You showed that you have the heart, the skill, and the determination to make a name, to prove yourself, and then hopefully make it up to that next level like the UFC. Because when they come back to the Midwest, hopefully you're on the fucking card, man.
Right.
Yeah, if you can fight anybody,
that's cool, right?
Who would you like to fight?
I'm not like huge on callouts, but like and I'm not huge on rankings, but like I'd be lying. I'd be remiss if I said I didn't keep an eye out for it, right? I just want to solidify, like, I want to be number one, right? Like, I didn't get in this sport to be fucking number two. Like, I'd like to see, like, I want to solidify being the number one in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and maybe even the Midwest, or like, and then I want to be the number one in the U.S. in the world. Like, but for me, it's like I don't want to jump too far too quick. So it's just like, I think
step.
Yeah, like definitely step by step, but I could see myself like realistically like solidifying that spot, like being the best in the Midwest, and then by doing that, I get a shot at the bigger organization. You know what I mean? So like whatever that is, it's just like I want to solidify my legacy in the sense of like I deserve to be in there with the best because I put in the work, not just because I think I'm talented or whatever. It's just like I want to go earn that. I want to earn that title of being one of the best, you know?
Hell
So,
yeah. And I mean,
if I could call somebody up, I mean, put a tournament together for LFA or to get to the belt, or you know what I mean? Like, cause as a wrestler, like I'm not huge on like picking matchups per se, but like if you show me a bracket and there's 4 people in it and I can win 2 fights, you know what I mean? Like, or if it's 8-man bracket, I can win 3 fights, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
anybody, oh my God, basically anybody that's going to get you to that title. Like it's not necessarily I hate you. I want to be here, and you're who I have to beat to get there. So, and I appreciate that attitude, and honestly, I thank you for doing the interview with us. I really appreciate it, and oh my God, I can't wait to see what you do next, and I wish you the best of luck in the future, man.
Thank you guys for taking your time and letting me on the show, because I really do appreciate it.
Damn.